All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Meet Fit and Lean. If you're new, please hit that like and subscribe button. Well, I want to address something, folks. That a lot of folks have asked me, why don't you just try Ozempics? Why don't you try Wegovy? You could lose weight a lot faster. In fact, people have accused me lately of trying that because I've lost a little bit of weight lately. And I just want to say that none of that will work long term, and it's very dangerous. And I've been down that road before. As I explained earlier, when I was a teenager, I tried amphetamines. I was on fen. That was the craze in the late 90s. People were dropping dead from it, of course. They were giving it out like candy. I tried Meridia. I did Slim Fast. I did Xenical, which was a fat blocker. All it did was make me bloat up like a balloon. I did all these horrible things when I was young. Probably, maybe that's why I had so much trouble still today. But I decided, the Lord actually blessed me by giving me terrible GERD, because through this illness with having having acid reflux disease, I've really honed in on food that I can actually eat, because what really triggers it is the sugars, the sweets, the candies, the cookies, or even just bread and pasta and those type of things, white flour. That's what makes GERD worse. So what I've tried to do is eliminate all that from my diet, and I've tried to make sure that I stay away from the sugars. Luckily, no one in my family has a case of the sugars except my crazy Aunt Virginia, but she had a drinking problem, and bless her heart, she was a really wonderful person, but she was pre-diabetic, but no one else in my family had that problem. And I don't want to end up with diabetes, and I will tell you that taking these drugs that are for diabetics will most likely make you diabetic. If you don't have diabetes and you're taking a drug that's a hormone that messes with your insulin and your appetite, that is not a good idea. And a lot of people take Ozempic and they end up with, well, Ozempic face, ages you quite fast. But it's not healthy, and they lose a lot of muscle too. And it's not a long-term solution. And not on top of that, it's astronomically expensive. So why would you put yourself through all that when you can just do it the old-fashioned way by having fish, or chicken or something? I feel like I'm doing it the right way, and I'm doing a sustainable way, but I will never go on these drugs. I've tried it before, and the big pharma are pushing them like, telling everybody, well, beats obesity. It's so unhealthy to be obese. It's much safer to take a drug that can possibly destroy your colon and put you in the hospital. Is much safer than being obese. That's the mentality today. And I'm not saying that being obese is healthy, but using these drastic measures to lose weight is way worse, way worse. And people are ending up with all kinds of problems on these. It's funny how the fat acceptance people are quiet now that they're on Ozempics and Wegovy and all those things. What is that Jewish comedian lady, that's foul-mouthed lady, lost a bunch of weight with it? And she's not into body positivity anymore, right? So I just feel like I'm never going to try these drugs. Ozempic is bad news. Uh, I just believe in doing it the right way. And obesity is mostly a spiritual issue. And if you don't address that, I was eating myself to death. I was eating myself to an early grave. And all these years where I could have been a relatively mildly attractive man, and I could have had a girlfriend, and I could have achieved a lot in life, all of that was blocked by my obesity or my up and down weight. I would just lose weight and regain it and lose it and regain it. Pattern my whole life, all these 46 years of my life. And it's just not a very healthy way to live, and I don't want to start something new like that. So I'm not going on Ozempic or any of these diet drugs. I'm doing it the right way. I just wanted to address that and just say, it's such a terrible idea. Steroids are out of the question for me as well. Steroids are known to cause cancer. Even a lot of bodybuilders say that natural bodybuilders use steroids and end up, with cancer. Um, so I don't believe in any of these things. I think it's a trap of the enemy, Satan, to make people very sick. But all these things, I mean, just think about it. You're taking a hormone that's meant for diabetics, you're injecting it into your body once or twice a month, and you're messing with messing with your hormones, regulation, your insulin and all that. If you don't have an issue, it's just bound to cause one. And people with diabetes, they get paralyzed stomachs, so they throw up, and that's exactly what these drugs do. They mimic someone who's diabetic. If you don't have diet, they make people throw up. They can't eat. So that happens with people with diabetes. Do you really want that? Is that what you want? I certainly don't. And I hope to be on this earth for at least another 30, well, statistically 32 years, I guess I got, but hopefully longer than that. My father's 91, but my father never was obese, okay? And that does scare me a little bit. I mean, I'm the only one in my family who's ever had a significant weight problem. Genetically, my parents were extremely thin. My mother was an anorexic, put in the hospital. She was 5'8" and 108 pounds. So that was like a problem that, I never had. I will say this, though. When I was a young child, I got stricken with gastroenteritis, and they had to put me on an IV, and my mother encouraged me to eat it because I got very skinny after that. Up to about age 4, I was kind of underweight, and I got really skinny. And my mother encouraged me to eat, and then I was eating too much. And by the time I was 10 years old, I was shopping in the Husky section. That's what they called it back in my day, the Husky section for fat boys. I was about 15 pounds overweight, which is pretty bad for a child to be that overweight, 15, 20 pounds overweight at age 10. And of course, my mother passed away when I was 11, and then I just piled on the weight all through my teenage years, and it was just always been a struggle for me. But Ozempic is out of the question for me, folks. I believe in accountability. We have to be accountable and not resort to these quick fixes. It's a quick fix, and it's actually going to cost you a lot, possibly an arm or a leg. So thank you all for watching. Go to my website at meetskeletonsplace.com, and remember, folks, say a prayer for someone special today. Bye-bye.